Today's interview is with Javier Hinojo. Javier is a guy who went to the military for 4 years and then came out and went to work in the service industry and did that for a while, and then ended up flipping real estate after going to a seminar, right? Going to one of those famous seminars and flipped for a while, and then realized that he wanted to be in multifamily, a familiar path that we see a lot of people travel. So Javier is a really fun guy. Really enjoyed talking to him. So you want to stick around for all of that. As always, like and subscribe on Wrestling with Real Estate YouTube channel. Go to the WWRE podcast and give me a 5-star rating and write me a review. It really does help me build this platform. So I really appreciate if you guys can take the 2 minutes and do that. It really helps me grow and helps me to put consistent, good content out there for you guys. And I'm also looking to speak to as many of you as possible. If you're interested in real estate in whatever capacity that is, if you have any kind of questions from watching these podcasts, or you just any questions in general, or if you just love talking about real estate, I'd love to get to know you, see if there's any way whatsoever I can help you. So go to the link in the description down below, or go to wrestlingwithrealestate.com, and we can hop on a call and have a great conversation. But before all that, stick around for today's awesome interview with Javier Hinojo, aka the Sexy Can, as he called himself. Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to chokeslam all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barry Griffiths. Now today we have Javier Hinojo with us on the call today. I'm very excited to have him here. How was that? Was that pronunciation not too bad?
Oh man, that was awesome. It's better than I can do it. Better than me.
The whole time I'm doing my intro, I'm thinking about that, trying to get it right. So
awesome.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, man, for making the time to be here. I know you're extremely busy these days and you're killing it. But before we dive into the conversation, which of course will be a fun one, do you want to give us an idea about your background, what your history is, and what your current focus is?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, I've been in real estate for about 5 years. Didn't have real estate experience in the past. A high school push out. Basically, I barely graduated from high school. C student, joined the Army. And after 4 years, you know, I always been an entrepreneur, right? So I had a service company. And actually, exactly 5 years ago, I went to one of those seminars. You paid 30 grand, 40 grand, the Rich Dad Poor Dad seminar. And I got my training, and right away started, you know, flipping houses. And flipped houses for about 4 years. And then a year ago, I decided to pretty much quit and sell my single family and just focus on multifamily.
Wow, cool.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your service, first and foremost. I always tell people this. I respect the hell out of anyone who's been in the military. I have I hold them in the highest regard. Nothing but the utmost respect for them. So thank you so much for your service. What was it, that lack of interest in school and education that sent you to the military? You think what was it? Just you didn't think that you could do anything else, maybe, or you know?
I don't know. It just man, I just can't sit still, right? Man, if I'm sitting there doing a test, like I don't like to read. I don't know. It just didn't. I don't know. It just wasn't for me. You know, I'm a pretty creative guy. I think I'm pretty smart. Maybe not book smart, but I'm definitely think outside the box, right? And I just felt like if I went to school, I was going to be stuck in that box. So for me, it just wasn't for me. Yeah. Now for my wife and like my daughter, she's 16 and she'll tell me, Dad, I had a nightmare that I didn't study and I had a test. So, right. That's my daughter. Right. I would have a nightmare that I have a test, you know, I'm like, oh no, I have a test, you know, it's backwards. So.
Yeah, I can completely relate. School wasn't for me either. That's why I ended up as a wrestler. You know, I tried to be a student, but it just wasn't for me. So I was just interested. It's interesting to hear you say that. So you were in the military for 4 years.
Yep.
But did you say you have a service business at the same time, or was that afterwards?
No, actually, when I joined the military, I was making big money, like $800 a month, big money. And I actually started my service company when I was in the military. That's what I did growing up. My parents were locksmiths. So when I was a teenager, I worked at part-time as a locksmith. When I joined the military after my training, I got to my base. I started my company. I would make, 5, 10 times more part-time than I would make, in the Army full-time.
So, and that was as a locksmith. That was this.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So when would you have time? Just at the end of the day when you finished? Or?
I never had, yeah, I worked 24 hours a day. You can ask my wife. I had to work till 3 in the morning, and then I go to do my exercise at 5:30, 6 in the morning, 3 hours of sleep. I sleep like 15, 20 hours, a week. It was insane. So
how do you cope on 3 hours a night? Are you just determination that you have, or
man,
what?
I don't know. Well, back then I was 19, 20. If I'm 41 right now, 3 hours a night of sleep, I pass out on the floor somewhere.
I guess, yeah, it's amazing what you can get away with when you're young, right? It's just
that's right. Yeah.
When I was younger, looking back, I would just drink all night and then go to work. Like sometimes I wouldn't sleep and go to work 8 hours and then.
I know.
Yeah, it's amazing. I wish I had that energy these days. It's just I'm 38, so I feel you, man. I want to be in bed by 10 at the latest and get a good night's sleep. That's my idea of a good night these days.
There you go. Yeah.
So with that service business, what do you think it was that you listed for 4 years, right? So you have to serve
Yep.
4 years, right? And then you finished.
Yep.
Did you carry on with that business once you finished?
Yeah, I did. I just moved to Raleigh. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I just continued it here. So, I did well, just self-employed. I worked for myself where, I was my own boss, but I still work for myself and still 9 to 5, still, I always thought to myself, how can I grow, right? How can I make $1 million a year, right? And not like gross, but like net, right? How can I net $1 million bucks?
Mm-hmm.
So I would think all the time, like, hey, have 10 service trucks, go to another city, have 10 service trucks. And then the more I thought about it, I'm like, man, that's just logistically, it's going to be, so hard, right? Not impossible, but I can, I just didn't want to do that. And then I always knew in the back of my mind that real estate was the way to do it, right? Because you'd always hear everywhere like, hey, most millionaires are made, one of the avenues or vehicles is real estate, right? And I just knew it back in my mind that was something that I had to do.
Interesting. And then you signed up for the Rich Dad.
Yep.
That class. What made you sign up for that then? Some people.
Yeah, because my buddy Chris, he invited me. He picked me up too, and he's like, "Hey, it's a 2-hour event. It was like a 3-day event because I don't like to waste my time." So, the first red flag was the fact that he came to my house to pick me up. It was kind of strange. Like, why can't I drive myself? Anyways, and I didn't really want to do it. And he's like, "Hey, I'm going to do it. Let's just split it." I'm like, all right. So we went ahead and split it, right? And the rest is history.
That's interesting. Yeah. So they taught flipping is what they taught in that course?
Yeah, they taught everything, like how to wholesale houses, flip houses. You kind of buy a package, right? They have like 12 courses and you buy a package, you get 3, 6, 9, or all 12, right? If you buy all 12, it's like 70 grand or something like that. I don't remember. It's extremely pricey, right? But if you do all the work, I mean, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
You do a couple of flips and you make your money back. So.
Yeah. But why was it that you think you chose flipping out of all those things?
I don't know. Just, it was back in 2015-ish, right? So the market was still kind of going up and you could still find some pretty decent deals on the MLS. So, that's the way we decided to start. Didn't have any money either. So, because my friend Chris, he had just survived stage 4 cancer.
Wow.
So he had pretty much, spent the last, part of his life, fighting for his life, right? So he didn't, at the end of the day, he had a business and all that, and couldn't take care of it, had to help, so he was, he didn't have $1 million bucks in the bank, right? So we got to come up with the money to close on the first property. We got a hard money loan. Didn't know what the heck that was. Didn't know what the closing statement was. We didn't know anything.
I was going to ask you how you guys did your first field deal. So you guys went straight to using hard money?
Yeah, we got hard money the first time. I think the second time as well, third time as well. And then eventually we started finding private money, people locally. So we worked together for about a year and a half or so. And then we went our separate ways. And, but yeah, after that, we just, I just had a private investors just telling everybody like, hey, I'm flipping houses. Actually, what I would say would be, hey, they asked me, what do you do? I say, hey, look, you know those flipping shows on HGTV? They're like, yeah, I do the exact same thing, right? You know, except for I don't sleep with my contractor. You know, I don't kick through walls. I don't. There's no drama. It's just pretty boring, right? But I don't tell them that, right? They say, "Oh, you're doing that. That's so cool," because they see it on TV, right? And then I would just ask, "Hey, if you know anybody?" I would actually say like, "Hey, I know you're well respected, you're well liked, you know, and you're trustworthy. So if you know anybody out there that's complaining about the returns they're making on their money, you know, send them my way because." You know, I'm investing in real estate and I got a lot of projects coming up. That's what I would say. And a lot of the times people will say, well, what's a project? And then I pitch them, right? Whatever I have going on. And then they have money, so they let me borrow money. Or maybe they didn't have money, but that's the way I did it all the time. All the time.
What did your deals look like back then? What were you buying for them? What, you know, roughly? I know you did a lot of deals, but early on, say,
Yeah.
what were you buying them for? What kind of?
Yeah, I mean, here in Raleigh, North Carolina, you could buy a house for, you know, well, in Durham back then, you know, maybe 50K, 70K, put 50K in it. You're making about 20 to 40K a flip, right? So on average, say $27,000, $30,000 per flip. Sometimes it was less, sometimes it was more, but on average, right? So the highest price point really was for resale was maybe 400, right? Kind of like anywhere from like the 180 to 400 mark. More conservatively everywhere around the mid 200s. So it's a decent market,
Yeah.
right? It's affordable, so we're able to flip them pretty quick.
Yeah. And then how much were you paying? Were you paying crazy rates for that hard money to start off with?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would pay 3 points up front, and then I would pay like 12% interest. You know, I mean, whatever, right? But I had to get a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
If I got a good deal, didn't matter, right? I'll pay 30% interest.
Yeah.
If I only need it for 3 months, right? So, and if I'm going to make 30K, right, and I'm going to pay somebody 30% interest, and I'm still making 30K, and I don't have to use any of my money, for me, the return is unlimited, right? It's not a, you know, because eventually my private lenders will let me borrow 100% of the purchase and 100% of the rehab.
But I guess you didn't start out there. What kind of LTV were you getting?
At the beginning, yeah, it was usually like, you know, like 70%, you know, some about 70% of the total project, or 70% plus 100% rehab. So you always had to come up with, you know, 30 to 45K down payment. And my wife is home, so you guys will see a lot of noise. Everybody's working from home now, right? So, but yeah, I mean, it was just, you know, you always have to come up, and you have to carry the rehab from the beginning too, right? So before you even get a draw.
Okay, so, yeah, you needed some money up front, right?
Yeah. So, but after a while, you start, you know, you start saving money, and then you do it. I know people that would do it on their own. They do 2 flips a year with their own money, and that's nothing wrong with that. But I wanted to scale, right? So I'd rather make less and do more volume.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned that finding good deals, right? How were you finding good deals then? And how, especially
back then,
off,
yeah.
Is it hard starting off because you have no reputation, you have no credibility to some extent when you start out?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's a challenge, right? But you just got to tell everybody and hang out and network in the right spots, right? Network at your meetup events, network, you know, with other investors. You just got to network, right? Get on Facebook groups, and you got to start somewhere. And you got to tell everybody what you're doing. I always make this joke that if I tell everybody that I have a third nipple, hey, I got a third nipple. I tell the whole world I got a third nipple, right? And then I'd be the guy with a third nipple. You know, just tell people long enough.
Yeah, you'll know. Yeah, they'll know you.
Yeah.
It's the same with real estate. If you tell everyone that you're the real estate,
just tell her exactly. And you know what? The funny part would be like, I would go meet somebody, or people would be like, hey, you doing real estate? They'd be like, yeah, hey, I want to do a project with you. I'm like, oh wow, here's 50K. Right. And then that 50K turned to 150K, and then turned to $500,000, you know, just like people that you know that have money that you don't even know they have money is a crazy part. So,
yeah, I always say it's like most people want to be in real estate, right? They might not want to be in it in themselves and do the work themselves. But if you start talking to people about real estate, they're like, oh, real estate's cool. I wish I could invest in real estate. Well, it turns out you actually can, right?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and I did that for about 4 years, and then I kind of saw the light where I said, man, I can't do single family if I really want to scale. The way to go is just doing commercial, right? Multifamily or just commercial real estate, and that's the big projects, you know.
Yeah. Well,
So
during that 4 years when you were flipping, did you keep any as rentals or did you sell them all? Did you keep any?
yeah, for the most part, we were just flipping everything, right?
Mm.
And there were some, there's some you can buy, I buy a 50K, put 20K, they're worth 80, right? So I got all my money back and a little bit extra. So yeah, just a little bit of both, but mostly flipping,
Okay. And then,
mostly flipping.
and I'm guessing, what was it a case of that? Then flipping is a full-time job, right? Every time you sell a property, you have to start over again, right? It's like
Yep, yep,
every 3 months, you probably
yeah,
have multiple projects, and I
yeah,
know I've never really done too many flips myself, but I imagine
yeah.
it's quite stressful, right? On your.
It's okay. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I'm like I said before. I don't know if I mentioned I'm 24 years old, but I look like I'm 41 because I used to flip houses.
That's all due to
You
this
know?
the flipping, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. But what made you decide to go commercial? I know you said that it was
Yeah.
stressful,
So
but
I tell you, I
could.
tell you what it was. So 2 years ago, I was at Las Vegas at the Rich Dad Poor Dad. They have some symposium every year, the biggest one. They have 1,000 people there, and they hand out a Hall of Fame award, right? Anywhere from like 5 to 7 students every year. They hang out. They give out the Hall of Fame award, and I was one of the inductees, right? So I was I was blessed to be one of them. And there was my buddy there that we became friends. His name's Tim. He's like younger than me, and he was wearing some funky looking pants. And like, who's this guy? And he just told him what I did. He's like, oh, I used to do that as well. And he just told me, hey, just buy one apartment. It'll change the rest of your life. That's what he told me, right? And it stuck to me. And then it still took me a year to process that. And then I started running the numbers. And I'm like, oh man, it's not even close, right? It's not even close. And then I said, okay, let's start buying apartments. So then last year I just told everybody I'm buying apartments, I'm buying multifamily, I'm doing commercial, right? I got the third nipple, right? And then now I'm buying apartments, right?
Well, if they had you if you were the Hall of Fame guy for flipping, how many flips were you doing then?
I I was at the point where we did like 53, in a 12-month span, and then I was wholesaling about 80, 80 properties a year. So we're doing about 10 transactions plus every month. Yeah.
Wow. So you were, oh, I didn't understand that. So you were, at that point, you were wholesaling as well. So you were finding.
Because I couldn't flip them all. Yeah, some of these I was just trying to keep the best ones, and everything else that I didn't want, I would just sell it. Yeah, wholesale it.
Did you have a team? Was it just you by yourself?
Yeah, no, yeah, I had a team by then. Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, I had a team at the very end. I wouldn't even go sign at the closing table when we bought or we sold. It's really a waste of time, to be honest with you. If you're going out there to sign your closings, and to buy them and to sell them, I mean, you're really wasting your time. You got better use of your time.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who's starting out in flipping now? Would you say stop and go commercial? Would you say use it to build equity,
Look,
and build your reserve, build that?
yeah. I mean, well, the biggest thing is that even if you don't have any reserves or any equity, right, you can still partner in commercial, right? You can, if you have money, you can help, fund a deal, you can rig a deal, you can manage, you can be boots on the ground. There's so many different ways that you can be partner in a commercial deal without having any money. So, I think about it sometimes. I say, should I just have started in the commercial side or should I started with single family? I don't know, right? I tell myself I should have just started commercial from day one, but I don't know. I started residential. Maybe I wouldn't be here. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Right. It's with whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, it's true. And I think sometimes with starting with residential, it's the fact that you start, right? So if you try and start with apartments, and obviously you can partner and all that stuff, but it can be intimidating sometimes. And I think a lot of us have, me including for sure, have limiting beliefs when you start out. Like, I can't do an apartment deal or whatever it is. So if you start with residential, as long as it gets you starting and it gets that ball rolling, I think it's great. And I think also with you doing flipping, I'm sure you learned a ton about construction, right? You learned a ton about working with contractors. So that's a skill that you can use now with
you see all the gray hairs right here. That's what right? All that right there.
Those are contractor related gray hairs.
You get questions like, you get a phone call saying you got a house that just got staged and the contractors went to do a touch-up work and it's going to go live that afternoon, and I get that phone call saying, hey, X contractors fighting with this contractor inside the house. They're like fighting, like fighting. I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, hey, who's fighting? And they're like, whatever, Juan and Mario. I'm like, who's winning? who's winning? My money's on Mario, right? But anyways, like, did they break anything? Yeah.
So stuff like that would happen all the time.
Yeah.
That's funny. We should have put him in the wrestling ring. We could have had a wrestling.
Yeah, maybe, right? Yeah. Hey, it was good. I mean, it was good. Maybe just look, when I was in the Army, we used to put some boxing gloves on if anybody had any, any kind of, any aggression to somebody else, right? But, hey, like, just for fun, let's just put the boxing gloves on, just go at it for, like, trust me, you can't go more than 2 rounds. Trust me.
Yeah.
After the first round, you're done. Like, you're spent. You're so tired. Okay. And wrestling, it's endurance, a lot of endurance, right? But and then you know what? Hey, you and I got in the ring. You give me a good beating, and we shake hands, and that was it, right? And it's not like we were fighting, but we were right, but with gloves. But it was more for sport. But after that, we're done. So yeah, you put them in the ring, right? Just let them release some stress.
Let them sort it out. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what was your first multifamily investment? Did you go do some investment yourself? Did you do a syndication right off the bat? How did you get into?
So when I decided to do it on my own, I just connected with people, right? I went to and if I could find a multi-family meetup, coaching event, whatever it was, I try to attend, and that's where I connected. So I connected with a friend of mine. He's in South Carolina. He had a property under contract. I'm like, hey, what can I do? Right? I was like, what can I do to help? Whatever you need, right? And so that's how I got started. My first one, kind of learned the ropes, kind of the process and things like that. After that, then I said, okay, great. I can do this on my own. And then I started to look for my own single family, my own leads, and then, raise funds and things like that, put a team together.
Also, you went and did a syndication for your first deal?
Yeah.
Outside of that deal that you helped your friend with.
Yeah, yep. So then, and after that, I just started putting my own together.
Oh, cool. So what was your first deal that you were?
Together. So it was a 72 unit in here in North Carolina. We bought it for like $1.3 million.
What?
And 72 units. Can you believe that?
What?
And the very next day, we were trying to close, and the seller wouldn't extend, so we closed the cash, and then we went ahead and did a reverse, like kind of like get a loan afterwards, and it appraised for 3.5. Right, we hadn't really done anything to it, so it's a good deal. It's a great deal. I actually met with the lender, local bank here. I had lunch with him last week, and he's like, "Man, I wish I would have bought that." He's like, I actually have a buyer to give you $3 million for it right now as it sits, like right now.
When did you get that deal?
That was just early part of the summer this year.
That recently?
Yeah. We had a couple that fell through because of COVID back in February, March, that we were going to close, and one of them fell through like 3 days before the loan got pulled. And then we had it was brutal, so we were able to buy most of our projects, during COVID. Right. I didn't have anything last year. And in 12 months, it's, 459 doors. Right. So we did like we did a 72 unit, 208 unit, and then we did a 116 unit, like all in the last, since the early summer.
Wow.
Yep.
So when did you actually start investing in multifamily? Was it this year?
Well, it was back in November last year. So exactly 12 months.
Oh, wow.
So the first one we bought was in December.
Okay.
First one we bought in December, and then from December to now, we got 459 doors. So yeah.
You're not messing around then, obviously.
No, let's go. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's cool. Congratulations, man. That's so cool.
Thank you.
So that I was doing the math on that 71 unit. That's about $18,000 a door.
Yeah, you know what we're getting for rent right now? 7. Okay, on the ones that are not remodeled, we're getting 600.
Yeah.
Okay, and on the ones that are remodeled, we're getting 775. And it's not a bad area. It's not like it's not a terrible area. Nobody's gonna get shot. It's it's a working class area, small town, but working class area. So yeah, we got a great deal on that.
How did you manage to
get an awesome deal?
How did you get such a great deal?
We just called the owner, right? George, my COO at the time, was doing the sales because we didn't have a sales guy. And she answered the phone, and she's like, "Oh, I get 5 calls a day."
Yeah.
They get calls all, but she's like, but you sound nice, and I do want to sell, right? That was it,
Wow.
right? And then he was able to talk to her, get under contract, and we closed it.
Right place, right time,
Yeah,
I guess, more than
yeah,
anything.
yeah. So that's why I don't get it discouraged. You say everybody's calling this person, yeah, but you don't know. They're gonna sell. Everybody's gonna sell at some point. Most people are, right? So you got to get on the phone, make some phone calls, and maybe it's you that they trust and they like, right? Maybe they like your accent, right? I don't know, whatever. Maybe they're just having a good day that day,
Yeah.
and they feel like selling, or maybe they have a bad day. Like this lady, her husband had just passed away, and it was really overwhelming for her to have all these. She owned like 100 houses as well, and it was just overwhelming for her. So for her, she needed to sell. So imagine somebody that called her 6 months earlier that she said no to and never called her back. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be persistent. That's one thing. If I could teach one thing, would it be persistent? Persistence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are, the way you guys are finding deals is through direct calling, cold calling a lot of the owners more than.
Yeah. For the most part, yeah. We try to deal with brokers. Right now, we got two, not contracts, but offers out, LOIs through brokers. I mean, we're pretty darn close. We're like in the top 2 or 3 offers. But most of the time, I mean, everything that we've done has been direct to seller, not really through brokers. The bigger ones come through brokers, which are nice.
What kind of deals do you like? What is your business model? Is it heavy value add, light value add, yield play? What are you guys looking at?
Look, right now we've been buying heavy value add. It's just really tough to get loans. There's a lot of good deals out there, more stable, so the banks are liking those a little bit more. Right? Don't blame them. But yeah, I'm not opposed to doing something, that it's almost turnkey, right? If it's at the right price. So yeah, I'm not opposed to that. But right now we've been buying heavy value add. I like to buy something nicer, more stable, maybe a light value add, but it's got to be a discount. I got to have some kind of a discount. I don't want to pay top dollar for it and then hope that it goes up in value. That's how you're going to lose your money. You're going to lose that's just like people did in 2008. And I don't want to do that. I'd rather not buy anything unless I get a good deal.
What does a heavy value add look like to you? What is it like?
Usually it's like a 50-60% occupancy, deferred maintenance, built in the 1960s to 1970s, probably. Just like your old house, right? That needs a lot of work, right? You're probably spending like $7,000 to $10,000 a unit to remodel, maybe a little bit more.
Okay.
So it's not
too crazy. Then it's not 20,000 a unit or anything like that. But
I don't know if I want to do like total gut jobs, a 20K unit. I don't know if I want to do that. Not right now. Yeah, unless it's like a killer deal, but still, I'll still think about it.
So you guys have grown to, what do you say, 450 units in a year?
Yeah, 459. Yeah.
Who's part of your team? You say we a few times.
Yeah, so I got a partner. His name's Moo. He's out in Houston, and then so now we got we have our COO, and then we have a director of acquisition. Everybody's full time. I got some people on the phone. I got a sales supervisor. I got an IT guy. We got a bookkeeper. I got a marketing person, and then assistant marketing person. So that's our team. Oh. And a disposition. Somebody does dispositions. Anything that we don't want to buy or doesn't fit our box, she'll sell it to other investors.
Okay, so I think it's wholesale them then in a way.
So yeah. There's some stuff like we got like a 20 unit. I'm not gonna buy 20 units, too small. But there's people out there who's gonna buy 20 units all day long. So we'll sell them the contract.
Oh, nice. So that's another stream of income for you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think it's 15 people in a team right now. I don't know, 13 to 15.
You have 2 guys doing the marketing. What kind of marketing do? Is that sending yellow letters? Is it?
So they do a little bit more. They do a little bit different, right? Like they help me run the Facebook group. We send emails out. Social media. That's kind of more of the marketing that they do. A lot more social media. We've really been wanted to do more presence in social media. Like I started the Facebook group, right? It's been like a month, got 1,200 people in there already. We want to get to 3,000 by the end of the year and then 30,000 next year. That's a huge number, but I need help to get it there. I can't do it all on my own. So they do a lot of social media marketing and things like that. So got a lot of ideas that slowly got to get. Everything goes too slow for me. Everything goes too slow, but that's okay.
You want it yesterday?
Yeah, I want it done yesterday. Yeah.
Hey, what's the name of your, for anyone listening, what's the name of your Facebook group? So that if they're
Uh,
interested in joining it.
$1 billion multifamily and commercial real estate.
That's cool. Why did you come up with
Yeah.
$1 billion thing? Is that one of your goals or something? Or is it
Yeah,
just,
for sure. Yeah. So I started, said, hey, look, 10 years, $1 billion in assets. I said, okay, let's reverse engineer it. First year we had to buy 34 million, right? I missed it. We bought 27, right?
okay.
You know, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna lose my sleep over that, right? And next year we gotta buy 74 million next year, right? So 2021, and we've already got the whole plan for that. So yeah, I mean, just sound like a good number. You know, it's just a number, something to hit, right? If we hit 1.5 billion, great. If I hit 300 million, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it either. You know,
Yeah, you'll be
so
okay. I'm guessing. Yeah.
yeah, I'll be just fine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, billion is the goal, right? We just set up the systems and processes and networking, and there's just so much that goes behind, behind the curtain that needs to happen. But we'll definitely do 74 million. I got no doubt. I mean, just on the stuff that we have right now under contract, if we happen to close everything that we have in the contract, we already would buy like $50 million in January or February, right? And the goal is 72 or 74 for 2021.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, we just got to keep busy, right? Got to keep making offers, keep networking, and the deals will come in, they'll flow. Yeah.
Yeah. That's incredible. Wow. I love talking to people like yourself. It's so inspiring, right? You just makes you want to go bigger and do more. It's so cool to hear that. So you said you guys bought in a year about $27 million worth of real estate, right? I'm guessing
Yeah.
that's coming out of your own bank account, right? I'm guessing you've got, a lot of investors that work with you.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Do you know how many and where are you finding them?
Yeah, for sure. So it just depends on the project, right? We usually, raise like 100K per unit, right? And like say we bought a mobile home park and we raised like $1 million, right? So we sold 10 units and then we give away some equity and we give some preferred interest, it just depends on the deals, just say it's 10%, right? They make 10% on their money, plus they get a piece of the equity. And then whenever we refinance out, they get the money back and they still keep part of the equity, right? So, we don't want to sell. I don't want to have to sell to make the returns. I want to be able to buy a good deal to where we can refinance and keep the property, right? Because then that's long-term wealth, right? So, but you can't do that in all properties, right? Some properties you're going to have to sell to make those returns, and I'm okay with that. But the main goal is not to sell. But if you buy it at a good enough price, you have a lot of options. You can sell it, you can refinance it, right? I love different exit strategies. So, right now, how many investors do we have right now? We raised $4.5-5 million this year.
Yeah.
So at least 50, I would say at least 50. And we already have a few right now that every project that we have, they already committed 100K, right? So every project that we have, we'll have like 200 or 300K already committed, right? Like, hey, every deal, I got 100K in this, so they want to diversify across, maybe 10 deals. And we're always raising more. Yeah, we're always raising. We're always connecting with investors, networking. It's all about timing, right? Because, right, you can call me for some money and like, hey, my money's tied up till February, and you're closing in December, right? And then I get money in February, and then I call you, hey, I got 100K. You're like, I don't have any deals. Like, dang. And then in May you have a deal. You call me back, like, hey, I just put it away in April. It's like I give it. It's like you got to get the right timing, right, with the investors. So you gotta have a good network for sure, because not every investor will be able to invest with you at the time that you need it, because the money could be stuck placed somewhere else.
Mm. So you guys do 100K minimums?
For the most part, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, for the most part.
And you guys must be giving them great returns for them to already commit to another deal before you even show them, where they must really believe in you guys and believe in what you guys do.
Yeah, so it's all about the project, and then it's about the team, right? Everybody's a little different. So for me, if anybody brought a deal to me and I was going to be passive investor, I look at the deal and then I see who's running the deal, right? After a while, right, you just, at the end of the day, you get comfortable with some operators, and as long as they have a deal, you're like, yeah, okay, it should be good, just because they have a good track record.
Yeah.
So, right, that's the goal.
And how do you set it up for the investors? You talked a little bit about it, but what you guys give a preferred return, and then you guys give equity split.
Some equity.
So how does that, what does that look like, if you don't mind me
Yeah,
asking?
so it just depends on the project, right? So there's different kinds of splits that you do. You got your traditional syndication where the investors get like say 80% of the whole project, and the guys that put it together, the general partners, get 20% of the project, right? And then you got to sell it in 3 to 5 years, so everybody makes their return, right? They'll make 10%, 12%, 8%. I don't know, whatever the number is. Say it's 12% cash on cash return, and they'll get like a 17, 18% internal rate of return, right? Which is an overall return,
Mhm.
right? So that's usually kind of the numbers everybody looks for. We try to beat those if we can. We like to, but we don't really know till we sell the property, right? But if you make a good enough purchase price, you'll be able to give, you know, 13 or 15% cash on cash, and 30% internal rate of return, right? The overall return of the project.
Wow.
If everything goes well.
Yeah.
So
Those numbers
yeah.
sound good. With those kind of
Yeah.
numbers, it's not going to hard to find investors, right? You can kind of
Yeah. I mean,
great.
you got a good project, but you always have to be, networking, talking to people. Hey, I'm raising money, or not raising money, but it's just kind of hard to. You just can't. I just can't meet somebody and asking for money. It doesn't work that way either. You can get in trouble.
Yeah.
So there's so many laws and rules and regulations you got to follow when you're going to raise money too.
So you guys don't do a preferred return; you just do a straight equity split, or does
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Well, no, you can structure it any way, right? So it just depends on the project. So I'll do if it's a good enough deal, I'll do a pref return, right? Because it's just nicer for the investor, right? We're like, hey, you're gonna get 10% of your money plus equity, right? And well, let me here's the deal right here. Here are the numbers, right? And then verified by the bank that's gonna give us the loan. So like, hey, this is our numbers. These are the bank's numbers that are actually going to give us the loan, right? They agree with our numbers. So, kind of gets verified 2 different ways.
Yeah. And so
And then,
is a preferred return easier to sell to investors than you think?
oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, if you're already going to start getting it, a lot of the syndications that you do, the investors don't make money for the first couple of years, right? They might not make any money because there's a lot of fees up front from the general partners, or you're trying to stabilize it, and you're trying to stabilize the asset, right? Maybe there's no cash flow, changing management, doing some turnover, but there's no cash flow. And then year 3, you get some cash flow. Maybe you sell in year 4, and you make a few $1 million, and you split it all up to everybody. Now they made the returns on their money, right? Now they made their 10% on their money, 8%, 12% on their money, and their internal rate of return. Plus all the tax benefits. Oh man, there's so many tax benefits.
Yeah, the tax.
Oh yeah.
Cool. What are you guys? Are you doing a 506B, 506C? What are you guys using, or does it again?
Yeah, 506B or 506C just depends, right? It just depends. So 506B, right? It's just people you have a relationship with, and 506C is basically accredited investors. You gotta make over 200K a year, have like $1 million worth of assets, not including your house, just to be accredited, something like that.
Yeah. Would do you have a preference which one to use, or does it again depend?
I mean, we haven't done a 506C, right, with accredited investors, but most of our investors are accredited, so, but there's some that just have like 100K or, 150K in their IRA, and they just want to put it somewhere. So, if they're not accredited, they wouldn't be able to invest with us.
Yeah. I'd be interested. What is your elevator pitch when you meet someone? How does that go?
My elevator pitch?
Yeah. Do you have one when you speak? You said you tell everyone about real estate, but
yeah.
What do you say out of interest?
Look,
so I can feel it.
Yeah, you always do like you always do the Ford method. I don't know if you ever heard of it. FORD, right? Family, occupation, recreation, right? And like your dreams, kind of, right? Hey, you married, hey, your kid, whatever, right? What do you do for work, right? And hey, what do you do for fun? Like, hey, what are your dreams, right? You just get it's basically that's the pattern that I always follow.
Yeah. And
eventually you start talking about real estate, right? They eventually going to ask you just out of courtesy, right? If I ask you about your family, if you're married, you're going to ask me, right? Oh, if you're married, do you have any kids? Yeah. Well, what do you do for work? I slam people I'm at Circus LA. I'm like, oh my God, that's super cool, right? And then you're like, what do you do for work? I'm a real estate, I buy apartment buildings, I'm a real estate investor. And you're like, oh, that's cool, right? And then we talk about our jobs, right? I talk about how many times have you fallen? And when you ask me, how I raise money, you start asking each other questions. It just comes naturally. Comes naturally, and it doesn't sound like a pitch.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't sound like I'm asking for money.
Yeah, I think that seems to be key is that you're not selling anyone. And I think
Yeah.
what I've always heard as well is the best way to approach it is that you're not asking them for money, you're giving them an opportunity, right? That they
Oh
wouldn't
yeah.
have if they didn't meet you. If they didn't meet you, they would be investing in the stock market and it'd be going up. And
Yeah, for sure. Like I know I have, good opportunities, right? So, you don't really have to, I don't know how to put it, sound like kind of beggy, right? There's really no reason to do that.
Mhm.
You're eventually going to find people who want to invest, people who don't want to invest. Some people you got to talk to for a year before they invest. There's no problem, right? And some people they invest with you right away, right? Like, oh yeah, I got some money, let's go. It just depends on the personality. So, but you always got to keep the relationships going, and not be needy, right? Don't be that needy boyfriend. Nobody likes that needy boyfriend. Like just ignore, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys have some kind of funnel as well for your investors to attract them, or is it just more word of mouth?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we just actually created an investor portal, right? People can actually go sign up, and then they get an email, and then they have a portal where every time we have an offering, they'll get an email, be the first ones to check it. So we just came up with that a month ago. So everything that we've done has been like on a spreadsheet, just kind of word of mouth, just working as we built our systems, So the systems are coming up really nice, and we're doing a lot cooler stuff, um, just like our branding and everything is starting to come together.
That's cool that
So
you guys
we're
were
pretty
able
happy.
to raise about, you said about $5 million from just
Yeah,
from that kind of word of mouth. That's
yeah,
phenomenal, right? That's
yeah. And at the same time, right? Like you partner up with somebody, and they're like a general partner, and then hey guys, we have to raise $2 million. Okay, great, let's start raising, right? Maybe we raise 800, they raise 1 million, right? So you kind of do it together as a group, right? So which is kind of neat.
yeah.
So sometimes all the pressure doesn't fall on one person. It's a lot of work. Trust me, you got to have a good amount of conversations. I'm in the East Coast, right? If you got money coming from California, they're getting off of work at 6 p.m. It's 9 p.m. my time,
Hmm.
right? Now I might have 2 or 3 calls in 30 minutes a call. I'm going to bed at 11 o'clock, so it can be challenging. So one of the hires for next year is an investor relations position, so they can take all the phone calls,
Yeah.
all the phone calls from investors.
How many phone calls do you think you're doing a week now with investors? Does it depend? Does it
Yeah,
vary?
it just depends if we're raising money.
Hmm.
But I try to send a text message or a Facebook message just to see how everybody's going. And we have marketing coming out too. Just give an update on a property. Like we just went to a property and my buddy took some video. We made a really cool video with music in the background. We're like in a party bus, just giving an update on the property, right? So we'll send those emails out like every 3 weeks. So we're always kind of front of mind, top of mind on the investors, right? But we don't have to actually make a lot of the phone calls, but they're always getting something from us
Interesting.
just to save some time.
Yeah.
And we're communicating with them, consistently on the projects. They always get a project update, right? If they invested with us during our portal, they're going to get some kind of, like a video of a project that we're doing, or just something that we're looking at, or underwriting, or just some kind of content.
Mm.
Yeah.
What does a day in the life of Javier look like, or is it so varied you can't really say? Do you have a typical day?
I'm not super structured, right? I'll get up, I'll go to this place, they stretch me, I just lay there and they just stretch me all over the place. It feels so good. It's like a massage. and then I feel like going to the gym, and then I might go or I might not go. I'll go for a walk, and then I just get back to the house and I just work. Right. So I got my calendar link, I'll set up some phone calls, and that match with my calendar link. There's just certain things that I don't do, like I don't answer my phone ever. It drives everybody crazy, especially my wife. So I answer my phone if we have an appointment, right? Or if I'm driving, then I'll talk, because I can talk and I can drive. Or if I go for a walk, then I can you got to use your time efficiently, So there's certain hacks that I do. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I wish I could answer my phone all day long, but I can't. So
But are you doing asset management? Are you?
yeah, so for me, so my kind of thing is just yeah, I'm always looking for deals, right? Always networking, see what other ways I can find some projects, right? Raising money. It's just deal flow and raising money, right? I don't want to do any of the operations, none of that. That's not me, right? That's why I have a COO. I don't want to do any of the sales. We have a director of acquisition. He does all the sales. We make like 35 offers a week, right?
Wow.
So we make a lot of offers. And then the sales supervisor in charge of the sales, And right now, I'm kind of supervising the marketing side, but I can't wait until I don't do that. I'm the laziest person in the world. I don't want to do anything. If I can outsource even arguing with my wife, I would do it. So yeah.
That's awesome. And I don't believe for a second that you're lazy. You're just smart, right? You just find other people to do the work for you, and you just
Yeah,
you're
gotta
like
find
the
the right person
orchestra,
for the right seat. Yeah,
you're like the orchestra conductor, right? Conducting all the music, and everyone else is playing the
yeah.
instruments for you. That's cool, man. What do
You
you?
gotta have the right team though.
Yeah, 100%, right? You've got to have
Yeah,
people that you trust and like, and that
yeah,
do
yeah.
what who they're supposed to. What's this might be a tough question, but I'd be interested. What's your favorite deal that you've done so far? Do you have a favorite or one that sticks out that you really like? Or
Favorite that sticks out, I would say. I mean, I like the one in North Carolina just because it appraised for 3.5 million. Right, that's super nice. And I really like that one. But actually, I would say probably the last one that we bought is a mobile home park. Right, I had never bought a mobile home park, and I've been looking for a long time to buy one. And I just told myself I need to get a good deal because if I screw the whole thing up, I still want to make a lot of money, right? So yeah, so I found one that we got a great deal on. It's a 116 pad with city water, city sewer, right by Notre Dame University, like 15-minute drive. For like 900K, right? It's like that's super cheap. Trust me, it's like super cheap. Once it's done, it'll be worth over four. Actually, not even what I mean by done. Basically, I mean like take the old trailers out, put the new tenants in, put some trailers in there that we don't own any of the trailers. Take about 2 years. It'll be worth a little bit over $4 million, and we'll probably be all in for 1.3 million, maybe.
wow,
Right. I told all the investors we're going to be in for 2 million because just in case I screw it up at 2 million, we'll probably be in at 1.3, 1.4. Right. And the returns are going to be insane. Like they were already going to get pretty decent returns, pretty good. And if we're in at 1.4, 1.5, the returns are even going to be better. So I would say that's probably my favorite, just because I feel that even if I do everything wrong, we'll still make a couple $1 million.
yeah. Are you
So,
oversubscribed for that one? Have you filled
oh,
everything?
that took like less than 7 days.
I can imagine. What was the
I just
rates
sent
on
it.
that one?
It was like $1 million, I think,
Okay,
roughly $1 million.
so
We
you
bought it
guys,
cash. Yeah,
yeah.
we paid for it cash just because we couldn't get a loan. It was too small. It was not stable. But we'll fill it up. Maybe 65, 70%. It's at 57 right now, 60%. So maybe 6 months we can fill it up to 75-ish, above 70, 75, and then we can get a loan. Right? We'll get a loan for pretty much, we can get everybody's money back most likely, but it's not stable yet. So we'll probably get a small loan, just enough, in case we need some more money, right? In case we need some more cash, but we can refinance pretty quick, or we can just wait until it's fully stable. So yeah, I think we subscribed like within 7 days, and my email was like super, like really bad. It was like a couple of one-liners. Hey, got a new deal. Here are the numbers. Just let me know if you're interested. That was the email. And the same thing with a text message. It was no fancy email with drones flying over it and like I'm walking. No, it was just like really basic, right? It was just to investors that we already knew. And my COO George, every time he sees me, every time he knows that I'm going to send an email, he's like, no, don't do it. Don't send an email. Let me review it right now. Let me review your email. Let me spell check it.
Yeah,
Let me
spelling
make sure
errors,
that
and yeah.
your English is correct. I don't care. Like I'll misspell the words and stuff, and like just send it out. Let's go. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it twice because then I'm wasting time. But I know it's a great deal, right? And we subscribed like in 7 days. It was insane. Actually, we had extra money. We had like a couple $100,000 extra that people were just in the waiting list.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, right? It's when you have a deal like that, it kind of sells itself, right?
Yeah,
Doesn't matter if
yeah,
you have spelling mistakes in the email or the text or whatever.
yeah.
People don't care, right? If you can make phenomenal money. What made you go after a mobile home park, right? Because you guys are having success in the apartment space. You kind of
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
you've got it down. What made you guys kind of go for a mobile home?
It's a lot less work. It's less work. It's because all you own is the land. If you don't own the trailer, there's no maintenance. All you gotta do is just keep the grounds, the common areas clean, and you're responsible from the city hookup to the trailer, right? Any kind of plumbing, and that's basically it, right? It's really not more to do. Multifamily, you got 9 roofs. You might have chiller systems, $60,000 boiler systems. You got all kinds of stuff, right? You make bigger money, but just a lot more responsibility. This one here, We have a 208 unit apartment in Oklahoma, and I think our cash flow for that one's going to be like 200K a year. Like that'll be our cash flow. And on the mobile home park, our cash flow will be, like $140,000 a year, and it's $1 million purchase. And the other one was like a $5.5 million purchase, right? So
How many pads? How many pads is it, that mobile home park?
it's 116.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty good, right? It was a great deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if I find another one like that, but when I saw it, I was wondering what's wrong with this. Why it's so cheap, right? But no, there's nothing wrong with it.
How did you find that one?
I think my sales guy, we were contacting a property management company for something else, and they told him like, hey, are you looking to you're buying? I go, yeah. Well, we might know somebody's selling, and that was it. And we just called. I got the contact, and we called.
Were you guys actively looking for a mobile home park at that time?
Oh yeah, but we are. Yeah, we are definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, we are right now. Right now, we have a 400 unit right now, 400 pad that we're looking at to either buy, or we'll probably end up selling to another investor. Right. So, like right now, we have 400 something pad mobile home park. Then we have we're like final 2, final 3 on a 400 plus apartment building, and then we have a 336 under contract. Let me see what else. Probably forgetting a couple of things. So we got like 1,000. We got like over 1,000 doors right now in the contract, or LOI, but doesn't mean anything. Honestly, it's one thing to get under contract. It's a total different thing closing it. Man, I've already learned that. So I think I will probably close half of whatever we have under contract. We'll close half. The other half falls out of contract.
I see, and it seems like you guys are going after the bigger stuff now. Do you have like a minimum that you guys are?
Yeah, it's like 60 and above. I mean, if I can walk to it from my house, I'll buy something small, like 15 units. I'm okay with that because I can drive by it and look at it. It doesn't take too much time. And I live in Raleigh, which is a great market, awesome market. But everywhere else, it's got to be like 60 units and above, just because it's the same amount of energy and work to buy a 12 unit than it is to buy a 100 unit. So why buy a 12 unit? Let's just buy a 100 unit.
Yeah. And do you always like something past a certain amount that you can get on-site management and on-site staff?
Yeah. That'd be the best. It depends on the deal, but it's always best to have on-site.
Yeah, interesting.
It's better.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you own anything yourself outside of the company? Do you own, or have you no interest in that, in like a 10 unit?
I mean, not really, because I could, but then I'm like, why am I wasting my time on a 10 unit? Unless it's like right across the street, right? Unless it's across the street.
Yeah. That makes sense. Man, that's cool, man. It's cool to see your success and how much you've grown, man. It's like, I love that goal. The $1 billion goal is just really cool. Yeah. I have no doubts for even a second that you're going to achieve it. Like, not even for a second. I thoroughly believe that.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're working hard every day.
Yeah, for sure you are.
Working hard every day.
Well, as this show is called Wrestling with Real Estate, I like to ask some wrestling-related real estate questions. Even though the first one isn't necessarily that, but what would your wrestling name be if you had to pick one for yourself?
It'd be Javier Sexy Can. Sexy Can, like sexy Mexican. Yeah, that's what it would be.
Sexy Can, I love that. I can see you. I can see you strutting yourself into the ring with some fancy clothes, fancy outfit for sure.
Oh yeah, man! I have a big old sombrero, and like some boots and stuff. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
So every wrestler has a special move, right? Something that they're good at doing, and it ends the match, right? Once they hit that move, it's lights out. So what is your special move in real estate, do you think?
So I like getting a great purchase price. If I can get a great purchase price from the beginning, I think that's the best move. Just because it gives you so many exit strategies, right? You can turn right around and sell your contract. Heck, you can buy it and put it for sale on the open market, with a broker. Or when you stabilize it, the market changes. Maybe you can drop the price and sell it before anybody else. You can refinance, get your money back. You can do a lot of different stuff. So for me, I think the best move is definitely buying at a good purchase price.
Yeah, definitely, especially what you're buying as well, right? That's no joke. Do you think you have do you have good negotiation skills, do you think, or is it more just being in front of people and
my wife's a better negotiator than I am. I'm not the best negotiator, but at the same time, right, that's why I hired a director of acquisitions, right? We make sure he he's a good negotiator, and he doesn't get his feelings hurt if somebody wants, $10 million and he offers them, 4.5, right? It's just whatever, right? That's just his job.
Yeah.
So I would say, my partner is a better negotiator, and my director of acquisition is a better negotiator. So I don't have to be, because that's not my role. But if I had to, yeah, I mean, I could negotiate. I'm just too nice.
Yeah. I believe that. What's been the biggest body slam you've taken in your investing career, you think?
Oh man, a few years ago, I bought 2 properties that were like money pits. I learned so much from them, and I had to close. I lost money. I had to stroke a check for like 40, 50 grand on one, and then turn around and stroke another check for like 50, 60 grand, all within like a 2-week period. Oh, that was brutal. So anyways, lost like 100K on two properties. Yeah.
Do you think you could, looking back, is there anything you could have done differently, you think?
Oh, yeah, not buy them. No, I tell you what. So it was one that had the split foyer. Basically, when you walk in, you have the little landing strip, and you go up and you go down, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't really know that those houses suck. Like, they're not good here in North Carolina. Nobody wants them. So my comps were way off. Mm-hmm. I mean, my comps were like $40,000 off. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was like, holy, I didn't know. And it just, that sucked. And the other one was a big house, right? I bought a house that was like 5,000 square feet. It was like a nice, luxury neighborhood where, I figured I could sell it for like $700,000-800,000. I thought it was like 6,500 square feet. And then when I bought it, and then when I went to put it for sale, it was more like 4,800 square feet. Oh. Right. So I was like, whoa, I'm missing like 1,700 square feet here. Oh,
you take measurements off.
Yes. So now I measured every house before I bought it.
I don't blame you.
Somebody at some point made a mistake in the tax records, and the old owner has been paying more taxes for it, but he didn't even know any better. He didn't know any better.
That's crazy. That reminds me of a story. My granddad was a real character, right? He was back in the day. He was owned a construction business. My family owned construction business, but it was old school, right? The business started making wheels for the horse and carriage. That's how old this business is. Probably 100 years old now. They started that. Yeah. So he was old school, real old school. And so one day he ordered a piece of wood for a wooden frame for the roof. Back in the day, so he ordered a piece of roof. The piece came, and it was like 2 feet too small. So I was like, how did you make this 2 feet too small? What happened? And he never admitted that he was wrong about anything. He was like, oh, I must have been wearing different size shoes that day. That's what it was, the shoes. It wasn't the 2 feet. Like your shoes allowed for 2 feet, so they had to reorder and everything like that. I was
yeah. You gotta measure. So now I double check everything. I definitely double check.
Yeah. So was there a moment you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you were too scared? What was it, and how did you overcome it?
It was basically just your own mentality, right? I remember the first time, I had to raise money. It was like $15,000. I'm like, man, I got to raise 15 grand. That's a lot of money. Like, I was just never used to asking people for help, or don't like to bother anybody. I'll figure it out, right? If I can't figure it out, then I go ask somebody for help. And so that was a challenge when I was thinking, like, hey, single family, 15K was a lot of money. And then when I had to realize that, hey, I got to raise $1 million, right? It's like, wow, I got to raise $1 million. Like, I remember I had the same feeling years back when I had to raise 15K. And I said, you know what? It's just a couple extra zeros, right? That's the way I thought about it. Extra couple of zeros. Everybody does it. Let's just get on the phone. Let's just do it, right? And I didn't let it get to me, right? Like, not, one of the biggest things, like when you need to tell somebody something, and you go on your mind all different scenarios. Oh, they're gonna say this. They're gonna say this. Like, hey, I crashed your car, right? Your brand new car. I backed into it. I'm so sorry, right? And you think about 20 different scenarios that are terrible, right? And then once you tell that person, like, hey, I crashed your car, they're like, you know what? It's just a car. Everybody, you're okay? Yeah, fine. And then it's way better than what you thought, right? Yeah. So it's just your own brain, right? It's not even going to just do it, right? Just get out there and do it. It's not as bad on the other side as you think it is.
Yeah, that's so true, man. I think, and I'm so guilty of this myself, is creating
Yeah,
situations in your head, right? Whatever it is, right? For example, you text someone and they don't reply for a day or something. You're
yeah,
like, oh, this person doesn't like me. This person thinks I'm an asshole or whatever. And then a day
yeah,
and a half later, they message back, hey, I'm so sorry. My kid got sick and I had to take him to the
yeah,
hospital or whatever. And then you realize, oh
yeah,
God, this whole time I was worried about this. And it was just this,
yeah,
create these monsters in your head. And it's so true,
exactly.
man. We get so, I think it's insecurities or whatever it is.
Listen,
I always,
listen. The best book for that, and it's actually the only book I've ever read in my life.
okay.
I've only read one book in my life, and it's about a 16-minute read. It's by that Navy SEAL guy, Jaco something. I forget his last name.
Jocko Willink, yeah.
Yeah, Jaco. Yeah. It's called Mikey and the Dragons. It's like a book with a lot of pictures and really large words, which I like. Very short to the sweet. I've read it all the time, and it just talks about how the people see the dragons and with the way they're not as big as you think they are. So, anyways, that book really actually pushed me over to do multifamily when I read it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Cool. Okay,
yeah,
I'll have to
yeah.
check that book. That sounds
So
like my
just
kind of book as well.
hey man, it's
I'm not a
super.
book
Yeah,
reader.
you can go order it on Amazon or go to YouTube and he'll read it to you on YouTube too. So
Oh, awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
yeah,
Well, Javier, thank you so much, man. It's been such a cool interview. You've got such a cool story. It really is, man. It's I'm inspired sitting here talking to you for real. Like it's getting my wheels turning. It's making me like want to go out and make offers and
yeah,
kind of get talking to everyone I know about real
for
estate
sure.
and tell them that,
Yeah.
hey, give me money or not give me money, but you know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah, I'm doing real estate. I'm doing real estate. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, before we end the call, where can people find out more about you? Anything you have to plug? Any way that people can reach out to you? All that good stuff.
Yeah, it's just social media, right? I don't know if you have any show notes at the end, but
Yes.
my name, Javier A. Hinojo Jr. on Facebook, the Facebook group, $1 billion multifamily commercial real estate. Just follow me there. If anybody out there is looking to buy smaller units, 8 units, 4 units, 12 units, we have some that are off market, maybe not in Las Vegas, but kind of all over the country because we're looking all over the country. So we do have like a buyer's list. We'll send you off market deals at pretty good prices. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate you having me on. It's a pleasure, and don't be scared if you want to jump on multifamily. Hey, you got a connection right here. Both of us here. If you guys find something, feel free to reach out. We can partner up. I love to partner up with folks out there. Do what I can. Sign on a loan, raise some money, do the asset management. You can bring a project. I mean, it's not bring some value too, right, to you guys. Not just let's listen to a podcast, but how can we do projects together? How can we do deals together? So I'm
Awesome.
open to that for sure.
Absolutely awesome, man. Well, it's been an
Yeah.
absolute pleasure. I'm so happy you made the time to do this, and I'm really appreciative of you being on the show and sharing everything that you've done. It's honestly really cool and really, really inspiring. So I think it's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you.
Take it easy, man.